We begin verse 1 with Isaac being old. His eyes were dim, so he could not see, so he's gone blind. And so he calls his oldest son Esau, and he says, "My son," and he responds, "Behold, here am I." And he said, "Behold now, I am old, and I know not the day of my death." So he tells him, "Go, get me some meat. You know I love your food and your hunting, so prepare me some yummy venison. Come in, and I will give you your blessing." Now, what we don't know here from the scriptural account is, has there been a conversation between Rebekah and Isaac about what Rebekah had already been told by God? If there was a conversation, we don't have it in the Bible. Rebekah knows some things. And so Jacob goes in to his father, and he says in verse 18, "My father." And he says, "Here am I. Who art thou, my son?" And he says, "I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou hast badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me." And so Isaac blessed him. So now Esau comes back, and Esau is so confused because he went hunting and got some meat and prepared it, and he's so excited to get this birthright blessing. He comes in, and when Isaac says to him, "No, I've already given the blessing." At that point, he could have rescinded the blessing and ended up actually cursing Jacob. But he didn't. He could have taken it away from Jacob and given it to Esau at that point, but he didn't. It's almost as if the Lord, through this means, he had taught Rebekah many, many years before what would happen, and it's now happened. It's almost like Isaac says, "Oh, I can see more clearly than you think. I'm not as blind as you think I am now." Having given the blessing, he realizes that it's the Lord's will. And so he turns to Esau and says, "Instead, I have a different blessing for you." So now if you contrast the blessing given to Esau in verse 39 and 40 with the birthright blessing given to Isaac back in 28 and 29, you can see that even though Esau doesn't get the birthright blessing, it's still a pretty profound blessing. He gets some big promises from the Lord. But the outcome, verse 41, Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. So look at the actual wording there in the second half of verse 41. Esau said in his heart, "The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob." Look at verse 42. These words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. So what does she do? What she's always done. She's looking out for Jacob in this context, and she calls him, and she prepares him, and she says, "Therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise. Flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran." So go on that hundreds of mile journey back to my homeland. My brother Laban lives there, and you've got to go and stay with him, because if you stay here, Esau's going to kill you. And then maybe your brother's anger will be turned away from you.